Today we're going to be checking out Brendan Fairclough's latest bike. Now this one has got an incredible custom paint job on it, done by those wizards over at Fatcreations. There's also some really cool information straight from Brendan on how he runs his bike, the tyre pressures, the suspension settings, and all the stuff that makes the bike different for when he runs a World Cup downhill race or doing massive freeride events like Audi Nines or Rampage. Brendan Fairclough has had some super cool bikes over the years, and in fact I think his best to date had been his previous Gambler, which was painted in that heritage green that you see the Land Rovers in. I think he's even got a matching Land Rover there, not sure which one came first, but it was super cool, and if you want to watch that video, there's in the link underneath this particular one. Now, as always, he gets his bikes custom painted by Fatcreations. Now, those guys really are the wizards as far as adopting a dream and turning it into a custom paint job goes. And this particular one took 35 hours, and it's also got a mixture of gloss and matte on there. And if you speak to any custom resprayer, they will tell you that that can be really tricky with masking and to get it just right. And in fact, actually on this one, the paint job was actually designed by his best friend, Ollie Wilkins.
Ooh. Oh my god, that is actually better than I expected.
It turned out alright, didn't it?
Wow, just want to touch it all over. Oh, how cool is it with matte and the gloss?
Yeah, it does look sick.
So good. I know it took you longer, but that is much
It is worth it. It's worth the effort.
Yes! Some lucky bugger is getting this, huh?
Some lucky bugger. Some very lucky bugger.
Oh, thanks guys.
It's a pleasure, as always.
That is very, very cool.
At the beginning of lockdown, I wanted to get a sick frame painted, which I'm actually going to be raffling this bike off next week, but we'll tell you all about that later on. It's got Dog's Life logos at the front. We've got F coronavirus logos there. Signature, it's got the whole thing.
So the frame itself is a Scott Gambler, it's a 2021 edition, and it's of course the carbon one. Now as you can see here, it's a pretty special looking bike, a little bit different to the regular ones that you see. Now Brendan runs a size large. Now it's actually one of the lightest downhill frames out there. I think it's 2,650 grams. I think they probably quote a size medium there. For the frame, the axles, all the pivot hardware and stuff, that's pretty flipping light for a downhill bike. And it's also got quite a cool trick up its sleeve. In fact, it's got adjustable geometry on there. Now there's 4 settings available to tune the way that the bike handles, and also to cater for the fact you can run different wheel sizes on there. You can run 29 on the rear, or you can run 27.5. You can adjust the bottom bracket in a high or low position. You can actually change how the back end feels as well. You can choose between a progressive and a linear setting. Now Brendan's got some specifics on that, of course, which we're going to throw to in a second. Now he's also running, I think he's got a 525-pound spring on his Fox DHX2 shock on the back. And as always, you know, he's going to have some different settings from his downhill settings to what he'd choose for something like this, where he's hitting enormous jumps. Of course, you don't want to get kicked on a bike like this and you're hitting jumps like that. And of course, you want to be able to land in a lot of control.
I have the exact same race bike as I do Freeride, Rampage, Darkfest bike. All I do is just wind the compression fully in on my shock and pump some more air in the fork. Everyone asks me like what I do to change my bike from racing to freeride, and all I do is pump some more pressure in the tyres and wind the compression fully in. This Scott Gambler has 4 different settings for the shock. We have high, low, which is used for 29 and 27, and we have progressive and not so progressive, which is 30% progressive and 35% progressive. So on a downhill track, I'll run it in low, and on the not so progressive, believe it or not, setting. And on jumps and big jumps like this, I run it higher, So a little steeper head angle and on the more progressive setting. So yeah, that's where we're at.
As you can see on the front of Brendan's bike, he's running the Fox 40 on here. This is the latest version of the fork, branded with the rad on there, and he's running about 90 pounds in there currently. He tends to change his settings a bit. He'll probably just mess with the air pressure in there. Interestingly, he doesn't actually know what rebound or compression settings he's running. We'll have to pick on one of his mechanics at some point to find out exactly what he's running there. TRP G-Specs on there with a 203mm rotor, as you can see, and he's got an Enve M9 29-inch front rim. As you know, it's a mullet style setup bike. He's running the 27.5 in the same rim on the rear. And he chooses to run the same tyres front and rear. He's got Maxxis DHR2, so that is a rear tyre. Now, they've been popular with a lot of riders, especially riders that are really aggressive on the brakes. They're especially good under braking because of that paddle design that makes them so good on the rear for like scrubbing off speed. So really good for control on the front end. So I can see why Brendan chooses those. Now he's running the downhill casing and of course the MAXX grip, so super sticky compound in those. Now he hasn't said if he's running inserts. I'd imagine he probably would on certain courses. Now, as far as tyre pressure goes, he's running 30 psi front and rear for freeride events, pretty much because he just wants a consistency of feel. He's not as interested in grip. He wants the bike to feel really predictable and he's carving onto those lips for good reason. That makes sense. When it comes to downhill racing, World Cups, he'll be running around 28 on the rear and between 23 and 24 on the front, depending on the course. Now he says 23 to 24. That's only 1 psi difference, but actually it makes a huge difference in feel. Try changing your tyre pressure 1 psi and I promise you, if you go out in the right place, you will be able to notice that difference. Someone like Brendan certainly can. Last detail, which you won't notice on Brendan's bike unless you take a closer look at on the wheels, of course, is he's running Chris King hubs. The legendary Chris King hubs, fit and forget those things. A lot of people aspire to own those, including myself. I will have a set one day. I've never had them, always wanted them. Pretty much when you buy a set of hubs, you don't need to get a new set of hubs ever again. And then for finishing kit on the bike, he's got a very neat looking Deity seat and post on there. Deity, of course, he's running their bars and stem on the bike as well, so it's a nice bit of finishing kit.
Up front we have the BF 800 bars. This says 800, but I cut them down to 780. If you look on the back of the bar, there is a little notch in there that says Brendog choice cut. So that's where I cut my bars to. I run 780 on downhill bike, 770 on trail bike, just for like a bit difference. I've got a 50mm Deity stem, obviously these snow camo death grips, and we've got some really cool new petrol style collars. They're a new addition for DMR. You can buy them as an upgrade on any grips. They fit on any of them. So I've gone for the white and petrol. But I think actually the black and petrol look better, but I like the white to go to the front. DMR AXE cranks, those things are just absolutely indestructible. Really a big fan of those. Obviously the BF edition, Brendog black volts. The new TRP 7-speed downhill specific derailleur and shifter in this sick gold colour.
Last up on the bars, you might spot this little custom top cap. It says MB Cyclery. That's actually Brendan's local bike shop. They actually help him out by doing a lot of his builds. Awesome bike shop, by the way, if you're ever in the Surrey region. I've got to say, how cool does his bike look? I love that understated look. I love the kind of the tan yellow sort of colourway of it. I think it looks really, really classy. And that's got one hell of a build on it. Now this is a very special project for Brendan because he actually wants to give this bike away for charity. He wants to raise some money and awareness for 2 charities. The links to them are going to be in the description underneath. So the first charity is MS Society, the second is Smile Train. Now they're a cleft palate and lip charity based for children. Now both of which are amazing causes, so if you want to find out how you can go about getting hold of this bike and helping Brendan raise awareness for those charities, there's going to be a link to it underneath in the description. Now as always, don't forget to let us know what you think of Brendan's bike. I love it. I would give it a super nice if this was on the dirt shed. Let us know in those comments underneath, and as always, thanks for hanging around. See you later.